John Hook's Newsmaker starts now.
Thanks for joining us for Newsmaker. County Attorney Rachel Mitchell will join us in the second part of the program. She's going to talk about her office cracking down on retail theft. But we begin with the crisis at the border. Arizona finds itself as a major gateway now for migrants worldwide looking for a better life here. And the numbers are nothing short of astonishing. Since President Biden took office in January of 2021, 3.8 million illegals have either been released into the nation's interior or successfully evaded Border Patrol to enter the country. And those numbers might be larger. President Obama's Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson once described a border crisis as more than 1,000 alien encounters in a day. Now we're routinely getting 5,000 a day. Chris Clem spent 28 years with Border Patrol, serving as Yuma's border sector chief for 3 years. He retired earlier this year. Chris, thank you for being with us.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Chris, your numbers are even more alarming. You put the number at more like 9 million.
Yeah, I'll just give you straight up numbers here. In 2019, we had just over 900,000 arrests in the border patrol. 2020, it was just over 405,000. In 2021, that shot up to 1.6 million. 2021, it went up to 2.2 million. And in 2023, it was 2.4 million arrests. So in the last 3 years under this administration, it's about 5.9 million arrests by Border Patrol, plus over 1.5 million known gotaways. So that puts us well over 7 million, plus what we have caught nationwide and at the ports. So yeah, we're well over 9 million over the last 3 years that have come in, and a good chunk of them have been caught and released into the United States. That's
what I wanted to talk to you about, Chris, because we keep hearing about apprehensions. What I'm seeing at the border is if you get over into our territory, you get processed and you're moved out. I'm not seeing a lot of people being taken back. Am I missing something?
No, you're right. And those numbers, I saw a report recently on comparing the number of people arrested versus those that have been deported, and it's just mind-boggling, the numbers. And I wish I could really report those. But I can tell you that last fiscal year, federal fiscal year 23, the Border Patrol released 900,000 people into the United States, and Customs and Border Protection at the ports released an additional 500,000. So that's 1.4 million people caught, processed, and released into the communities in the last 12 months. And so those people will be waiting for their initial hearing, which sometimes is 3 or 4 years from now. So this is big, and this is what continues to pull people in, because there are no consequences. Some people are held for a little bit of time, then they're released, but a very small percentage are actually being formally removed and deported from this country.
Chris, who is being deported? If they're going to take somebody out who's trying to cross, who's getting sent back to their home country?
Yeah, it really just depends on some of the agreements we have with different countries. Oftentimes, our Central American countries, Mexico, they will be removed pretty quick. Usually within a reasonable amount of time, they'll get set up for removal processing. They'll be put on an outbound flight. There are some other South American countries that we've had some negotiations with. But really, the large percentage of people are not removed from this country, and they'll be set up for removal proceedings, which means they have the right to due process and a hearing. So there's a very small percentage of people that are actually being caught and returned. Now, I will just say this: that was one of the consequences or advantages we had when we had Title 42, because we could expel people immediately back to Mexico or to certain countries that would receive them. But for the most part, a lot of people that come across today are not being removed. And that is where you're seeing all these folks that show up in communities across the country.
So if they say they're being detained, that only means they're being detained, questioned, and then released.
Yes, that's true.
Okay,
so that again goes back to some of the constant back and forth. they are set up for removal processing. They'll tell you that. They are put in removal proceedings.
But that's years down the line.
Proceeding tells you, they don't tell you how long that's going to be.
Yes, exactly. Okay, now, the asylum claim, which seems to be the coverall for people coming here, and as I understand from your border agents who I talk to, they're being coached on what to say. So they talk about fear, that they were fearful for their lives, all this kind of stuff. How many are true asylum claims, Chris?
Very, very few. Less than 10% would even make the claim for asylum or meet the merit of asylum. I mean, it is very, very specific. I'm sorry, you can get abused, beaten, you could have a finger amputated, and that does not mean you're going to be given asylum. It is very specific to, political persecution, certain, diversity groups, religious backgrounds, but just living in a violent neighborhood and not being able to find a job is not a merit for asylum. It's an awful place. I'm sorry, but that does not get you asylum in the United States. And one other thing is you're supposed to claim asylum in the first safe country. And so many of the migrants that we encounter are passing through multiple countries. And it's not until they get to the United States will they even mention the word asylum. And it's often when they're questioned, do you have fear of return? Now and that's part of our questioning when we would apprehend and process somebody. If they say, yes, I have fear, then that gives them another bite at the apple to go through an asylum credible fear claim that ultimately gets them released until they have such hearings. It's loopholes that need to be closed. And we were getting close until some of that got reversed.
Okay, so many questions. For somebody seeking asylum, if they say those words and they say the magic words, they're released. Who is moving them to the interior of the country? Who's paying for that? What do the migrants get when they get here? We're hearing all kinds of crazy things now, that people are being given phones and even $5 grand. Who's paying for this?
Well, we're paying for it. So let's just break that down a little bit. When somebody is apprehended by the Border Patrol and they claim fear or they say they want asylum, they will be processed accordingly. There will more than likely not be any room for ICE immigration removal operations to take them into custody. So they'll be turned over to a non-government organization, a local NGO that will help facilitate their movement to wherever they want to go pending their hearing. That NGO will oftentimes arrange and give them food, funding, help them make their plane tickets. That is something that is actually reimbursed by FEMA. And then now sometimes they go to these sanctuary cities and these sanctuary states who are now asking for the federal government to reimburse them. So we've spent hundreds of millions of dollars building these processing centers at Border Patrol locations. We're reimbursing almost dollar for dollar through FEMA to the nonprofit organizations that are helping move the migrants. And then we're looking to reimburse the sanctuary cities who are receiving these migrants. So it's all coming out of the taxpayers. A good chunk of these of the migrants are being paid for 3 times by the taxpayer. And this is what's frustrating to a lot of people. It's frustrating to the communities that deal with this. It's frustrating to the Border Patrol agents because they know they're getting they're being tied up and having to process and release. Now, I have heard to the part of your question about getting money and phones. The phones are often done when it comes down to tracking them to allow them to check in with immigration officials when they get to their destination. That is not something that Border Patrol was responsible for. We did not give them money or visas or arrange for their tickets. So that is something that has happened that's outside the narrative that I could speak to. But I'm hearing it just like you are, that some organizations are taking care of that. It just never happened under Border Patrol purview.
Chris, in the history of this nation, have we ever seen a migration of these kinds of numbers?
No. I heard somebody recently kind of compare this to Ellis Island, and it's actually kind of ridiculous that somebody would make that claim. You're talking 60 years of Ellis Island being open. There was 12 million people processed. I just gave you some numbers earlier that we have 9 million, almost 10 million just in the last 3 years. And by the way, the ships were stopped before they even made it to the island to do initial screening and quarantine. So we've never seen anything like this. I was in the agency for over 27 and a half years. So my first 25 years before I became chief, we had ups and downs and we had some peaks, but we'd never have seen a migration issue that is so global. Again, in Yuma, my last 2 years of Yuma, we had people from 116 countries. And I mean, that just, it's a global issue. And that just adds to the challenges that our men and women that are on the front lines face.
As you're aware, Christopher Wray, FBI director, recently testified that the security lights are blinking red in this country. Are we talking about people coming in now that we don't know who they are or what their intentions are? Do you believe there's a real legitimate security threat with this?
You know, I do believe that. I do. I want to break that down a little bit. Everybody that we do apprehend and take into custody, we will take their fingerprints. We do a complete biometric screening, and they're vetted against, or at least measured against, the current databases that we have. And if and the numbers show that last fiscal year, I think there was 172 people on a terrorist screening database. And those numbers have only gone up since this administration took over. So those threats are real. I think the concern is if we don't have the information, if people are coming from countries that we don't have those good relationships with, that information may not be in our databases to measure. So that becomes a risk factor. Also, because of volume, we can't necessarily spend the time that we would normally do to have that human interaction. So I have a lot of faith that our men and women of the Border Patrol are doing everything they can. But the problem is we just don't have a place to detain them long term to ensure that the true vetting is being done, especially if they come from countries that are not our friends, that have shown interest of doing harm to Americans and American citizens. So I do think there's a risk. I don't see any reason why Director Wray would sugarcoat that or be less than truthful. But I also see that the men and women of the Border Patrol are doing everything they can to mitigate those risks. So we're not releasing people into our communities.
One more thing I've asked everybody I've had on this program on this subject. Why is this happening? What changed? Is this willful? What's going on?
Yeah, no, it absolutely is willful. As I mentioned, I worked under 5 presidential administrations. I came in 1995. Every administration has leaned forward on border security and tried to address the immigration piece. And let me just explain something too. Border security and immigration are very much related, but they're not mutually exclusive. You can have a border security plan and still address immigration down the road. We were at that point under the previous administration. Everybody had leaned forward. We had the wall system, we had the roads, we had the technology, we had the lights, we had the policy to back that up. We were getting to one of the most secure borders I worked with, or worked alongside, or on for my whole career, only to have that reversed through executive actions and things being put on hold. So this was completely willful. Maybe they didn't think that it would be this bad, but you know what? If you turn on the spigot and you start flooding things, you turn off the spigot. And I would have thought that after the first few months of this flood, they would have done everything they could to turn off the spigot, and they haven't. So, Chris, it can be controlled out of the White House, and it can be resolved tomorrow.
Chris, I really appreciate it. Chris Clem, 28 years with Border Patrol. He was Yuma's border sector chief for 3 years, now retired. Chris, thank you, and we'll have you back. I appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you.
Great to see you. When we return, Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell on the crackdown on retail theft in the Phoenix area. She's going hard after this issue. We'll talk about that and more next on Newsmaker. Back on Newsmaker, and we're joined by Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell. Good to see you. I haven't seen you, frankly, I don't think I've had you on the program since the election.
Yeah, it's been a while, but thank you for having me.
You're welcome. A couple of things that caught my eye. The main one was you have gone pretty darn hard on retail theft. And that caught my eye because we know that there's this dollar amount in some other jurisdictions that is kind of allowing people to game the system. I'm thinking San Francisco, LA, Seattle. that up to a certain amount, sometimes it's quite a bit of money. Sometimes it's $1,500, $2,500 you can steal before it becomes kind of a felony. You've taken a different approach. Talk to me about that.
Well, you know, in Arizona, theft is governed by the amount that you take. So if it's under $1,000, it's a misdemeanor. But there are other crimes that can be implicated, such as the crime of organized retail theft. And that is a felony regardless of the amount. And we do have the capability in some situations to aggregate the amount so that these individuals who are going from store to store to store and maybe taking, I'll just say $900 in one store and $900 in the other, those amounts can be added together. And that is a lot of times what they're doing. We indicted a couple of people, one of whom had hit 12 stores in 6 cities in one day. And,
here in the Valley.
Boy, that adds up quickly.
Here in the Valley?
Yes, all in Maricopa County.
This is a maddening crime. Do you have any theory as to what's driving it?
I do. I think when these progressive prosecutors have gotten into the other jurisdictions and have been very permissive with this, and they've started this false narrative of saying, well, these are people who are, trying to live and trying to, feed themselves. That's not what's happening here. What is happening is these people are taking very resaleable items and they're fencing them to fund additional criminal activity. And I think a lot of people are coming here from those other jurisdictions. We're seeing a lot of people from California come here and commit these crimes here. And I think it's because they've gotten away from it with it there, and they think that that's going to happen here. And they're in for a rude awakening. So
you drew a calculated line in the sand to let these folks know, if you come here and do this, we're going to go hard on you.
Yes. In fact, I was just talking about one at my press conference where this individual is being held in on $45,000 cash-only bond and had hit, I believe, 10 or 11 different establishments in 2 days and is from California.
Yeah, and we're all paying for this stuff.
We are. It's not only the cost of the theft, but it's the cost that stores are having to put into devices to thwart theft. And, it's so sad. I went and visited a local pharmacy recently, and we went down one row, and there was either plastic shielding over the product.
Oh, yeah.
Or there was an empty shelf. Yeah.
Good luck if you're a man trying to buy nice razor blades. I mean, this is, yes. I've seen it here in downtown Phoenix. There's a Walgreens here in downtown Phoenix. And I said, where are the hand carts? Where are the carts? And exactly. The lady told me, she said, too many people are using them to rip us off and then take off out the door. So we don't have carts anymore. And I thought, okay, again, the public's getting punished for this.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just that, but I mean, we know that Target announced recently that they were shutting down 9 stores nationwide. Fortunately, none here. But in addition to that, I was told by them that they canceled the building of 8 additional stores.
Oh, yeah. And that's jobs.
When you think about that in terms of the diminishment of a community, yes, where people have a place to go to buy things that they need, and it tends to hit poorer communities first. And so these are people who perhaps are more dependent on public transportation. So now they have to go further to get what they need in terms of diapers and
I wanted to hit a couple more things while we've got you. Number one, you have been dubious of the federal oversight that's been ongoing for quite some time of both Phoenix PD and the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. Mm-hmm. That's not really in your purview, but you've definitely stepped out because you've got some real concerns about what's going on and the money being spent, and show your work product, I think would be the kind of underscoring it. Tell me where you are on that whole issue. Well,
actually the oversight of the Sheriff's Office is within my realm of responsibility because I represent the Sheriff's Office. And,
true.
Yes. This is something that started under the previous sheriff, Joe Arpaio. And so we are now 2 elections past Joe Arpaio, where we have a Democratic sheriff in, And yet this is still going on. And when you talk about what the initial issues were that were to be addressed by this, we're not even talking about those anymore. We're talking about completely moved goalposts to where they're trying to comply with other things. And what people need to understand is this has cost taxpayers in Maricopa County $240 million.
Wow.
And, my question is, what have we accomplished, in this latter part of this oversight that $240 million couldn't have been spent better elsewhere, to recruit good people, to get them trained, to have good leadership.
Do you have the same feeling about the city of Phoenix as well?
A floor in a building downtown here for 3 years because we have to rent office space for the monitor, but they don't use it.
Do you feel the same way about the city of Phoenix oversight on excessive force and questions about, things that happened a few years ago now?
I have the same concern that the same thing will happen, that the goalposts will move, because what happens is they bring in these monitors who have every financial incentive to not find compliance. And it ends up going on for decades as opposed to addressing the situation. If these situations are that bad, and I mean, certainly targeting racial minorities is a bad situation, this isn't something that should take place over decades. This is something that should take place immediately, either through new leadership, new chief, which Phoenix has, and get that addressed and move on from there so that they can go about the business of keeping this community safe. That's not what's happening.
You are seeking re-election next year. I'm curious because you got into this thing where you kind of went after Kari Lake's attorneys and legal team. You were asking for attorney's fees for her rejected election lawsuit. They lost that lawsuit, and you wanted some payback for that. The judge eventually did not find in your favor. Why did you go there in what's essentially becoming an election year? That was an interesting step, and I wondered why you took it.
Well, first of all, we did seek attorney fees in the federal case, and we're successful in getting over $122,000 of taxpayer money back. And I think there's a huge misunderstanding about what I was seeking with sanctions. Sanctions means I was asking for the loser of a lawsuit to pay back the attorney fees expended by the person who prevailed, and those are taxpayer funds.
Yes.
It's not inexpensive to hire experts and legal lawyers to defend lawsuits that are being brought over and over again, and that's why I was seeking to get taxpayer money back.
One more thing. Why are we seeing so few executions in Arizona for people on death row who have been convicted? Their appellate issues have been resolved. Why the slow walk on executions?
Back in January or February, Governor Hobbs decided to put a moratorium on the death penalty in order to study it. And I wanted to extend some grace on that because I know she was new in office. But here we are in December. We executed 3 individuals last year. I attended the last of the executions. Her own Department of Corrections director, in an effort to get past the Senate, said that they've been ready to go on execution since May the 5th, and yet here we are with next of kin waiting decades to see justice for their loved ones. And it's basically Governor Hobbs has decided that she's going to take the law into her own hands, which the law does not allow her to do, and to single-handedly go against what Arizonans have approved, which is we have the death penalty for certain offenses.
Can you fight that out in court and push it?
Yes, we can. And we have done some work on that in terms of, seeing where they were at in terms of being ready. Because initially we were told we can't do the execution because we don't have the training and the people. And then we were told when that they were able to do the execution. So we gave them we were giving them a little bit of time. They said that they needed to find a compounding pharmacist for the drugs. But at some point, we're going to move forward.
Okay. County Attorney Rachel Mitchell, we appreciate your time. Good to see you. And thanks for joining me on Newsmaker. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be back in a moment.